Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this channel. This is part three in our first day after the war video series. So, in today's lesson, we will be looking at how to write a poetry literature essay. If you have watched the previous video, you should more or less know what to do. However, I'm just going to go over the conventions and some tips for success once again before we get to the actual essay. Okay, so as you should know by now, at an FET level, you are required to write literature essays on poetry, novels, and dramas. So in this particular video, as I've said before, we are only looking at the poetry literature essay. So in the literature essay, you are required to show your understanding of a piece of literature by analyzing it. And you should know as well that literature essays have a set structure and style, and it's completely different to a creative writing essay. So this is not a narrative essay, this is not a descriptive essay, you are not telling a story, this is more of an argumentative essay. So you have to provide your opinion and you cannot merely copy and paste from the internet. Remember, there is no right or wrong opinion, but do not go off topic. So, conventions of literature essay writing. So, once again, your essay must always be written in third person. Don't use the pronoun I. Avoid slang. And again, I doubt any learner would write slang in their literature essay. You also need to not write with colloquial language, conversational language. This is not a WhatsApp you are sending to a friend. You're also not speaking to a friend. So your writing needs to be formal at all times. How do you achieve this? One of the ways is that you need, please don't write in abbreviations. So didn't, couldn't, shouldn't should be did not, could not, and should not. Okay, so speak in. Sorry guys, I see again the notes didn't save from the last time. Write in the present tense. Example, the speaker states, the speaker is referring to. Do not write, it's not saying, do not write, the speaker stated or the speaker was. Whenever we refer to literature, we refer to it as it is happening in the present tense. Okay, even though this poem is set in 1994 and it's doing almost about 20, well, is 28 years later, right? You should not write like it is happening in or it happened in the past. Always write the title of the poem in one inverted comma and underline, right? One inverted comma, not two inverted commas. It's not a quote by William. So, for example, Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare, and don't forget to underline your title. Always quote from the poem to substantiate, support, justify, prove your argument. And always remember your inverted commas. Now, when you use a quote, you would use two inverted commas. So, for example, in the poem Sonnet 116, Shakespeare states that true love is everlasting and does not change over time. So, love alters not with brief hours and weeks. Right? Do not use exclamation marks. Explain your arguments clearly. Again, I doubt anybody will be shouting in the essay. Avoid long rambling sentences and exaggerated superfluous words. So, your essay must be concise and to the point. Don't have long sentences, okay? How do you avoid that? Use words like however, nevertheless, thus, therefore, to move. Okay, let me just say here. And therefore, to move from one point to the next, okay? And most importantly, when you're in that exam and you're about to write your paper two, right, always plan your essay. The same goes for your essay on Life of Pi, for example, or your essay on Othello. You always need to plan your essay, right? So, let us look at today's essay question. The essay question goes as follows. In first day after the war, the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings. With close reference to diction, imagery, and tone, critically discuss the validity. Validity means is it valid, is it true, of the statement. Your response should take the form of a well-constructed essay of 250 to 300 words, so that is about one page and probably like a maybe a page and a half for those who write big. Nonetheless, after reading the essay question, which we just read now, firstly ask yourself whether you agree or disagree with the statement. So, the statement is this part of the essay question. The speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings. Right? After reading the essay question, firstly ask yourself whether you agree or disagree with the statement. So, the statement once again, the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings. Ask yourself, does the speaker focus on the celebration of new beginnings? Right? Then, once you've agreed or disagreed, develop your thesis statement. Now, remember, you cannot write, I agree with this topic or I disagree with this topic. Okay? Your thesis statement, your actual argument should be one of the following. If you agree, you must state the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings. If you disagree, it is the speaker does not focus on the celebration of new beginnings. However, it is very difficult to disagree with the given statement in the essay question. And if you feel like you can't prove the essay question, right, you can't prove the statement to be true, then rather do one of the contextual questions, so question 2, 3, or 4 in the exam, then you don't do the essay question. But I'm very confident that after watching this video and the various other videos on this channel on how to write a poetry essay, that you will be confident and well prepared to write one. So, now remember, a literature essay is an argumentative essay, right? However, in this particular argumentative essay, this literature essay, you have to get evidence and factual information from the poem. How do you do that? The essay question will tell you exactly what to refer to, right? So remember, if you watch the An African Thunderstorm, um, how to write a literature essay on that poem, you would have referred to imagery, structure, and sound devices. Now, in this particular essay question, they're not asking for sound devices, they're not asking for structure. Here, they're asking for diction, imagery, and tone. So, if you don't know by now, diction refers to specific words in the poem. Imagery refers to the images created through the different figures of speech, and the tone refers to the attitude or emotion of the speaker in the specific lines, right? Or how does the speaker sound in the poem? So if you remember from the previous videos, tone would refer to, think of tone, you think of ringtone. When you think of ringtone, you think of a sound. So in this context, it means the sound of the words, the speaker in the poem, the person explaining the poem to you, this person, the voice in the poem, right? So the person telling the story. Remember, poetry is like a story, right? So how does this speaker sound? What emotion and feeling do you get from the words, right? So that is what tone is. Then once again, planning is important. This is what your planning should look like. Body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3. In body paragraph 1, I'm going to set it aside for diction only. In body paragraph 2, I set it aside for imagery only. And in body paragraph 3, it's for tone. Alright? So, once again, I'll read the essay question just so that we can familiarize ourselves. And then we're going to look at the step-by-step format. So, in the poem First Day After the War, the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings. With close reference to diction, imagery, and tone, critically discuss the validity of this statement. Sentence 1. Provide a definition of the term in the essay question to set up the parameters of the essay. So I'm going to define the term celebration. So the term celebration is defined as a social gathering or enjoyable activity held to celebrate a particular event. Sentence number 2, we summarize the poem. We also have to mention the name of the poem and the poet. In the poem, First Day After the War by Mazisi Kunene, the speaker describes the joy and jubilation experienced by all South Africans due to the celebration of freedom and democracy. Right? Sentence number three. Tell the reader what your essay will entail by stating your thesis statement, and your thesis statement is your argument. The following essay discusses how the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings. So, body paragraph one, we're going to refer to diction. As I've stated before, diction refers to specific words in the poem. So, remember what your argument is. You need to prove to the reader that the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings. That is the statement. We need to prove that statement to be true. This means that you will need to quote from the poem to support the argument. Quote words, quote diction. Diction is words, right? Think of diction, you think of dictionary. What do you find in the dictionary? Words. Therefore, diction refers to specific words. Then at the end, you restate your thesis statement and you link the substantiation you made in the paragraph. Sorry, and link it to the substantiation you made in the paragraph. Let me just see that. Okay. So you always start off your body paragraphs with a transitional word. We move from one paragraph to the other. So our transitional word that we're going to first use in body paragraph one is firstly. So the speaker uses words such as calling, line 11. Whenever you quote, you need to say which line you got that diction from. Calling, line 11, shook, line 12, demanding, line 12, and shouted, line 15. And these strong actions create the impression that South Africans are enthusiastic and determined to enjoy the occasion of the first day of democracy. Therefore, it is evident that the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings because South Africans are described to be unable to contain the joy which is expressed in their wild actions. Right? Okay, body paragraph 2, imagery. An image refers to a picture. Pictures refer to seeing something. So imagery in poetry refers to what do you see when you read a specific line. Imagery often occurs in figures of speech such as metaphors, similes, oxymoron, etc. Once you've done that, you paraphrase the quote or quote the line you want to explain. State what figure of speech it is and explain it. Restate your argument, thesis statement, and link it to the substantiation you made. So, excuse me, guys, I'm very got a lot of burps today, so I really apologize. Okay, nonetheless. Secondly, so now we start out with our transitional words. Secondly, in line 18, the speaker states, "We saw our ancestors traveling tall on the horizon." So the speaker refers to the ancestors as the celebration is such an epic occasion that even the spiritual world joins in. Furthermore, right, when we move from one point to the other, furthermore, the speaker uses a metaphor to compare the ancestors' pride to the act of traveling tall, right? Because they are proud that South Africa and its citizens are now free from apartheid. Therefore, it is evident that the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings because sacrifices of the ancestors have not been in vain and their lost dignity has been restored due to the end of apartheid. Body paragraph 3, tone, right? So I'm not going to go over this. I've gone quite thoroughly over what tone is. So our transitional word now is additionally. At the beginning of the poem, the speaker depicts a hesitant tone. However, this changes as the speaker thereafter depicts a celebratory tone in the poem. So, guys, when you write your tone paragraph, ensure that the tone fits in with the thesis of your essay question. So, if your essay question is about celebration of new beginnings, then you can't say the tone of the poem is angry. Angry and celebration doesn't fit together, right? So always think about which tone, which emotion you are going to write about. This is evident now. You need to prove how. You can't just say that the tone of the poem is celebratory. Where did you get that from? You need to prove it by substantiating, quoting from the poem. So this is evident in line 9 with the use of the words open space, and in line 10 with the word ululating. Right? Therefore, it is evident that the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings because South Africans do not contain their joy any longer. Right? Remember, they were hesitant, right? And thereafter, they went out into open spaces and they were ululating, and everybody was happy, and they don't contain their joy anymore. It's not a restrained feeling, right? Conclusion, our transitional word here in our conclusion is in conclusion. Transitional words. It is evident by the aforementioned information. Aforementioned means the above mentioned, or this information here above. But the aforementioned information that the poet indicates, sorry, this is wrong, that the speaker focuses on the celebration of new beginnings and then provide a nice message at the end, right? So the poem teaches readers that in today's society, individuals must celebrate their freedom. Okay, guys, so I hope that this helps with your literature essay writing on poetry. Once again, if this helped you a lot, please give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment in the comment section, and as always, don't forget to share this video or this channel, my channel, with any of the grade 12 learners that might be struggling, right, or need some assistance before the exam. And lastly, if you haven't before, don't forget to subscribe to this channel.